The most distant planet in our neighborhood of the cosmos has recently been illuminated by the James Webb Space Telescope's deep peep into the solar system. The first photograph of Neptune from the observatory has been released, and it provides the greatest look of the frigid planet's rings in more than 30 years. In addition to being crystal sharp, the image provides the first ever view of the dust-based rings in the near-infrared range. The planet doesn't appear blue at these wavelengths because it absorbs so much infrared and visible red light, which gives it a gloomy, ghostly aspect. In this video, you're going to take a closer look at the new detailed image of Neptune as captured by the paramount tennis court-sized James Webb Space Telescope. Welcome back to Space Infinity. Follow the activation mode procedure by clicking the like and subscribe button and pushing the notification bell. Think of a frigid planet that is far from the sun. Its calm, aquamarine ambience, enormous menacing storm, sight of moons with unique frosty landscapes, and a delicate ring that surrounds it. This planet is referred to as Neptune, which is located 30 AU from the Sun and takes 165 years to orbit the Sun. Neptune is significantly further away from the Sun than Uranus, yet it has a similar average temperature of -230 degrees Celsius or -380 degrees Fahrenheit. And its interior is producing more radiation than it takes in from the Sun. The fact that Neptune's overall reflectivity changes over time, absorbing sunlight at different wavelengths more or less, complicates things. Its energy balance might be impacted by that. Neptune has a considerably more acceptable 28-degree tilt, comparable to that of Earth, Mars, or Saturn. Voyager 2's images of Neptune revealed the planet to contain a variety of bright clouds and storms, including one notably huge anticyclonic storm that was not then visible from the Earth's existing spacecraft. It was known as the Great Dark Spot and resembled Jupiter's Great Red Spot, although it didn't appear when Hubble first observed Neptune in 1994. Since then, a number of potential new dark spots have been seen, but none have persisted for more than a few years. A small one was spotted in Hubble photos from 2015, together with tall, dense, and white clouds that were clearly visible from telescopes on Earth. In 2017, there was yet another outbreak of bright storms, and the most recent Hubble images from 2018 reveal a brand new black spot that is equally as massive as the one captured by Voyager 2. Large storms on Neptune can migrate toward the poles or equator, unlike storms on Jupiter, which may explain why they last only a short time. According to some research, the weather layer in the atmospheres of Neptune and Uranus may only be 1,000 kilometers or 600 miles deep. There are at least 14 moons of Neptune, the majority of which were discovered by Voyager 2 or by diligent telescopic studies. Triton, its most well-known satellite, is 2,706 kilometers or 1,681 miles across, making it 20% smaller than the Moon, but 10% larger than Pluto. Triton's retrograde orbit around Neptune suggests that it is a captured dwarf planet that was probably kidnapped from the Kuiper Belt. Scientists were astounded by Voyager 2's images of Triton finely patterning relatively craterless surface and active geyser-like jets blasting dark material many kilometers above the South Pole, despite the spacecraft only catching a partial look of the planet. The rings of Neptune are also unlike any other planets, sometimes appearing in groups and as incomplete arcs rather than rings. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope mission. Live updates. The James Webb Space Telescope, NASA's replacement for the renowned Hubble telescope, was launched on December 25, 2021, with a mission to study the first stars and look further back into the history of the universe than ever before. Lagrange Point 2, L2, where Webb is now monitoring, is around 1 million miles away, 1.6 million kilometers. It is the biggest and most potent telescope ever launched into orbit. Recent days have seen a great variety of science emerge from Webb's earlier observations. One of the best images of this generation is a stunning one of Neptune's rings and moons. Following Webb's probe into extraterrestrial worlds, scientists are learning more about exoplanets, and new atmospheric photographs of Mars are providing new insights. According to a recent study, astronomers may be, by an order of magnitude, misinterpreting readings of exoplanet atmospheres made by the James Webb Space Telescope. As part of the telescope's ambitious deep space mission, measurements of the chemical compositions of the fascinating stars, galaxies, and nebulas it observes are made, as seen in the recent photos of newborn stars in the Orion Nebula. Telescope scientists employ sophisticated models for interpretation in order to aid in exoplanet research. But according to a recent study by scientists at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, these models aren't accurate enough to capture all of Webb's subtleties. James Webb Space Telescope captures the best image of Neptune's rings in decades. The precision of the planet's rings, some of which have not been seen since NASA's Voyager 2 became the first spacecraft to examine Neptune during its approach in 1989, is what most stands out in Webb's latest photograph. The Webb image vividly displays Neptune's fainter dust bands in addition to many brilliant, narrow rings. According to Heidi Hamel, a Neptune system specialist and transdisciplinary scientist at Webb, it has been 3 decades since we last observed these faint, dusty rings, and this is the first time we have seen them in the infrared. These incredibly weak rings were discovered so close to Neptune thanks to Webb's exceptionally consistent and accurate image quality. Since it was discovered in 1846, Neptune has captivated scientists. Neptune orbits in the distant dark area of the outer solar system, 30 times further from the Sun than Earth. High noon on Neptune is comparable to a dull twilight on Earth, because to how small and pale the Sun appears from such a great distance away. The internal chemical composition of this planet qualifies it as an ice giant. Neptune is substantially richer in elements heavier than hydrogen and helium than the gas giants Jupiter and Saturn. Small concentrations of gaseous methane enable Neptune to appear characteristically blue in Hubble Space Telescope photos at visible wavelengths, which is easily observable. JWT has found Neptune's rings. What does this mean to us? Planetary scientist Patrick Irwin stated that it's unclear exactly what these rings are. The Webb telescope may be able to help us better comprehend their origin through subsequent observations, though. Without a doubt, Neptune's rings are distinct from Saturn's, whose rings have, in contrast, been the subject of much study and are well known. Some of the moons of Neptune were also visible in the Webb photos. Triton, the biggest moon of Neptune, is one of them and is thought to have been trapped by the planet's gravity at an early stage in its history. The frozen nitrogen surface of this moon seems to be a star-like object in infrared photos, shining brighter than Neptune. Although NASA has opted against sending a mission to investigate Triton, future observations with the Webb telescope may give researchers important information on the planet's geological processes. Dr. Hamel pointed out that Triton's surface chemistry might alter over time as a result of its geological activity. Hamel claimed that the photos gave her a sight of Hippocamp, another Neptunian moon. She's there, though faint, right above Neptune. Trying to fathom what these moons might be constructed of and what kind of surface they have is fascinating. The photographs gave a preview of the telescope's possibilities, according to Mark McCauran, a scientist with the European Space Agency. We previously utilized Webb to examine the most distant objects in space, but today we focused on our own solar system. We can learn more about the planet's rings thanks to Webb, who can detect faint objects like moons. The James Webb Space Telescope has only been in operation for a few weeks, yet it has already made history. The first direct image of an extraterrestrial world was captured by the Deep Space Telescope. The planet, which resembles a blotch next to the star HIP 65426, is around 385 light-years away from Earth. Using its mid-infrared instrument, MIRI, and near-infrared camera, NIRCam, which each look at different wavelengths of infrared light, Webb was able to observe the exoplanet. Additionally, researchers are attempting to understand the unusual concentric rings that surround the distant star WR140. Judy Schmidt, a citizen scientist, posted the photograph on Twitter. Scientists are baffled by the fact that there are irregular waves encircling the star. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know what you think in the comments. For more riveting news about the cosmos, follow the activation mode procedures and be sure to visit the Space Infinity video archives. Until the next video, Godspeed.